Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Wasn't that an amazing start to our summit? We've had some great speakers already, and hopefully you have gained a lot of wisdom and knowledge from them. As mentioned, if you saw my video from a couple of days ago, we are all here for you. As a member of this support group, this very large support group, regrettably, this very large support group, a lot of souls hurting, a lot of souls looking for support. And you found us. Here we are. And today has been a day devoted to you, where you have an opportunity to see us, to be able to interact with us, to be able to see what we're about, not just the written word, but actually to have some sort of dialogue. And I know that's a little challenging with a screen in between us, but we're going to do the best that we can today. Absolutely. So we've had some amazing speakers so far. I am here at the noon hour Eastern Standard Time for an hour to do a workshop with you. Yes, this is my 9th summit appearance. I am incredibly honored and humbled to be invited back month after month, because I am not a rinse and repeat type of presenter. I give you brand new information every single time. I pay attention to what's going on within the group. Some of the questions that seem to be on repeat, those questions that get a lot of engagement. And I develop what I'm going to speak about, usually a workshop, around that topic, because it is very timely. And if someone else was vulnerable enough to pour their heart out in a post, and that post either got a lot of engagement or not enough engagement, in my opinion, that's usually what I talk about. So today we are going to be talking about how to trust yourself after divorce. And this is a workshop. So yes, you will need a piece of paper in front of you and a pen to jot down notes. Anything that I find that's important that you need to jot down, I will repeat it more than once so that you have an opportunity to write it down. And of course, watch the replay. I encourage you to watch the replay. There's a lot of information that I'm going to give you in the next 55 minutes. It's a lot to take in. I get that. But with that being said, we are going to dive right in. Well, first, wait a second. I need to tell you who I am. My name is Vanessa Cardenas. I'm a relationship reset expert specializing in betrayal recovery. Well, wait a minute. I don't want to reset my relationship. I'm getting divorced. Definitively, I'm getting divorced. Well, it's not just a relationship with your spouse. It's the relationship you have with yourself that I work on as well. For me, in particular, the reason that I got into this work, and even though I have a psychology degree, I'm a C-suite executive. And almost a decade ago, I had 3 words said to me by my husband that I never ever thought he would say. Never. In a million years, never he would say it. But he did. I've met someone. And just like that, my whole world shattered. It did. In my particular case, I fell hard and deep. Oh, I did. Betrayal recovery is just, it's gut-wrenching. And in my case, what it was it opened Pandora's box for a lot of other betrayals that I had had throughout my whole life, starting in childhood, that I never had the language to say, this is betrayal, this is what this is. And I would just put a Band-Aid over it and let it scar over and, be done with it and move on, move on, move on. My family and friends, move on. And I never really cleaned those up. So when I had this catastrophic betrayal, it just opened up every single wound I had within me, on me, and it was, And as I mentioned, I had a psychology degree. I thought for sure I could fix him and I could fix myself. Yeah, no, it doesn't quite work that way. It really doesn't. We think as women that we are strong and we can do everything. And for the most part, we can. But there is a sense of you do need help. Hence the reason that you're here for a support group, to hear from others. What are they experiencing? How did they do it? What are they doing? How do they navigate this or that? And that's what this whole day summit is for you, a variety of topics. And we have speakers that are speaking on the same topics. And that's great because you get different perspectives. And I need to tell you that I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you hear yourself more clearly. Because what winds up happening for us is that we have a really wicked inner critic that really starts coming front and center to remind us of our shortcomings, of things that our inner critic feels that we're not doing right. And she starts to beat us down. We don't need that. We don't need that. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is techniques on how to trust yourself again after divorce, or if you're going through it. Because if you're going through it, you're here for a reason. So let's jump right in and go from there. So part one, okay, there's 4 parts. Part 1, why do we get stuck? Yes, there are times where we get stuck in the muck. We're knee deep in it. There's so much going on. We're flooded with all kinds of things. And if we have children, we're dealing with how to interact with our children related to the divorce, and in-laws and parents and friends and PTA and all of these people. And we just sometimes want to dig we want to put our head in the sand, and we just want to be Rip Van Winkle and wake up decades later with all the pain gone. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't. You always hear a lot of cliches. You do. And they become cliches for a reason. And the one that was said to me quite often was, you're stronger than you think you are. And I'm like, I don't feel strong. I don't feel strong. I want to lay in the fetal position in my bedroom, ugly crying for days, weeks, months. That's what I did. And it wasn't until I actually pleaded with God's source spirit to give me a reprieve. Please give me a reprieve. And I heard it like a thunderbolt. I did. You have to help someone else. Wait, what? No. You misunderstood me. I need a reprieve. I need help. I need. Said it again. You have to help someone else. You're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. I need the help. 3rd time, you need to help someone else. And I finally just agreed. I relented. Okay, I'll help someone else. You're obviously not hearing me. Okay, fine, I'll help someone else. And that evening was the first time I got a chance to sleep more than 4 hours. Yeah, you and I both know that sleep, oh yeah, it's a commodity that we so desperately want when we're going through these types of crises. Yes. And I woke up the next day and I felt a little better. Just a little, but enough to be noticeable. And then the next day, and then the next day, and then I got it. The little nudge, the little shove you promised. And that's when I got involved in betrayal recovery. And I sought out help. I did. I relented. I became vulnerable. And I said, not for nothing, I need help. And I'm talking beyond Facebook groups. And I know you get a lot of support here, and we're very encouraging of that. But if you're in if you're in it and you feel like you're in cement and you feel like you're going over and over and over again, and it's just an endless roller coaster, not a merry-go-round, because you will go on the merry-go-round as well, but a roller coaster, ups, downs, ins, outs, and you're exhausted. Sometimes you need beyond that. I did. So, got a marriage counselor and a therapist and a coach, as well as a support group, but a small support group. There were 11 of us, 12 of us, if you include me, and an amazing mentor. She was amazing. We lost her to COVID. Terrible. In any event, she had pulled me aside. Now, what you don't know is I became the unofficial ambassador for everybody else because I was knee deep in studying. I'm a student of knowledge. I want to know as much as I possibly can about a particular topic. And in this particular case, it was betrayal. So she pulled me aside one day and she says, Vanessa, there's something I need to tell you. You're being selfish. What? What do you mean I'm being selfish? I'm the unofficial ambassador for everyone else. Everybody else has me on speed dial. People are calling me at all hours to help them out. What do you mean I'm being selfish? She said, you're only helping 11 other people. You need to get out there. You need to get out there. Write a book. Write a book? Are you high? What do you mean write a book? You need to be out there. And she was the one that encouraged me not only to write my book, but to get on all the socials and get on podcasts and share my story so that I could be the survival guide, like Brene Brown says, the survival guide for others. So here I am for you. So let's jump right into it. Why do we get stuck? We do. We just absolutely do. It's the biology of it. We get into a fear mode, and we've heard it. Fear is fight, flight, flee, and freeze. And my favorite, and the one that I did all the time, was fawn. That's Fawn. Fawn. I fawned over everything. Every little itty bitty thing I fawned over, especially my children. I mean, helicopter parent? No. It was worse than that. Is there a possibility that it could be worse than helicopter parent? Absolutely. Guilty as charged. But fawning, and that is a reflex related to fear. Once I could acknowledge that's what I was doing, when we can put language to how we are feeling, it allows us to control it more. And that's what we need to do, is the regulation of our nervous system. We need to regulate ourselves. We need to acknowledge how we're feeling, not suppress it, but acknowledge how I'm feeling. Oh, I'm doing this because I'm afraid. I'm doing this out of fear. Let me breathe my way through it. Let me get my heart to connect with my head, my brain, so that they can be connected, because a lot of times they are so disconnected from each other, and we want them to be together. So, fawning, okay? One of the things relates to it is people pleasing. We people please. We want to be liked because we're going through such a wicked divorce, or an amicable divorce, but a divorce, a rupture. We want to be liked by everybody else. And how do we get people to like us? We please them. At least we think so. We fawn over them. We give so much of ourselves. We become everything to everyone else, and we lose sight of ourselves. We lose our identity. We lose who we are. Yeah, as you get married and you become so-and-so's wife and so-and-so's parent and daughter-in-law and everything else, we get all these titles. But we lose ourselves. We actually lose sight of actually who we are, and one day we wake up and it's 10 years later and we look in the mirror and we don't even recognize ourselves because so much has changed, but it's changed incrementally over time and we've lost ourselves. We've become invisible. And now with this rupture, we have to actually face who we are. And we don't quite know who we are. And we definitely don't trust ourselves. No, not at all. I had a woman come into my office, a new client, and she sat down, and it took her a while. She circled it. She circled it quite a lot, but obviously if she's coming to see me, it relates to relationships. It just does. But she skirted her way around it until she finally got to why she was in front of me. And that was her fear of staying too long in the relationship. She felt that she stayed too long, and now that they were getting divorced, she was kicking herself for staying too long. So when we got into it, into the nitty-gritty, though she was upset at herself for staying too long, we got to the reason why she stayed for as long as she did. And yes, most stay related to children. In this particular case, she didn't have children. So that wasn't the anchor. But she stayed out of fear, not readiness. Her fear was related to her lifestyle. She had financial fear. She wasn't quite sure what would happen for her. The fear related to loneliness. She was already lonely in her marriage because her husband was a hedge fund manager and was always working and everything else. And she had moved from the Midwest here to New York, where I am in Westchester County, and hadn't made any friends. And she was very much alone. And she was worried that the divorce would just intensify that loneliness that she was feeling. And then the final one, which was the biggest one of all, and it took her quite a while to get to it, was her worthiness. She didn't feel worthy to be by herself. And that kept her stuck. She was frozen. She was paralyzed. So if you are at the point of, okay, I want this divorce is going to happen, I want you to know that the divorce doesn't necessarily end the pain. It changes the shape of it. Let me put a caveat to this, and I should have said it right at the top. Everything that I am talking about does not relate to abuse. If you have been abused verbally, sexually, emotionally, financially, abused, and you want a divorce, you are absolutely encouraged to do so. Abuse, hands down. I'm not talking about that. I am not talking about the abusive relationship. Okay? That's for my clients that come into my office. For the purposes of this workshop, we are just talking about a divorce. Just a divorce, not those types of reasons that are leading to the divorce. Again, as I mentioned, there are other reasons for divorce. Okay? And there's reasons for fearing divorce, and there's reasons for second-guessing divorce. And again, as we mentioned, it's definitely financial. We do have a financial fear that relates to it, and we have a couple of speakers today that will be talking about that. A fear of loneliness, of just, your life is going to change. It is. It absolutely is. You're going to start dating again. Yeah, that's a whole other realm. And again, we have other speakers that will be speaking on that particular topic as well. So what do we have going on? Okay, so let's set the stage. You're here because you are in the process of getting divorced or you're contemplating divorce and you want as much information as you can get. Meanwhile, here I am speaking to you and you've got a little inner critic chiming in the background. Yes, and she can be wicked. Now, inner critic's not to be confused with intuition or gut. You really have three things within you, an internal compass. You have your inner critic, you have your intuition, and you have your gut. And a lot of times, especially during crisis, your inner critic will bully your gut and your intuition. She will disguise herself as those as well. So you need to be mindful of it. You need to watch it. You need to, when that internal voice inside of you starts to say things that are just hurtful, like you would never let anybody else talk to you the way your inner dialogue is talking to you, we need to put the kibosh on that. We need to tap that down. I can tell you this because I spoke about this topic at Oxford University last month about having a wicked inner critic. I had one. Yes, I had one. And she was born in kindergarten. Yes, in kindergarten. I was 5 years old and my inner critic was born. And I let her rule my life for way too long. Absolutely. Because she was my constant companion. And she told me she was looking out for me. No, she wasn't. She was keeping me small. She was allowing myself to doubt myself over and over and over again. So here you are. Perhaps at night when it's nice and quiet, that dialogue starts. Are you making the right choice? Makes you second guess yourself. And then once the papers are actually signed, you have signed divorce papers. Oh, she gets mean. She gets really mean. You failed. Really? You failed. You gave up. What? What do you mean I gave up? I'd been in this for X number of years. I tried. Now you're battling. You're battling your inner critic. No. No, 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 no. We don't want to do that. And then the worst one, and this is the one that just hits the hardest. And I want you to be ready for it when I say it, because we're going to figure out ways to have it not be said. Now, no one will want you. Oh, they just cut and cut and cut. I mean, so how do we combat a wicked inner critic? Now, there's lots of techniques because you have an inner war going on within you. So I'm going to give you 3 techniques. There's a multitude of them, but these 3 techniques are the ones that I suggest to my clients right out of the gate. These were the ones that worked for me. They were simple enough for me to understand them and for me to implement them, because if you want change in your life, it starts with you. It does. It doesn't start with everybody else. It starts with you. And are you capable of doing these things? Of course you are. Absolutely. Are they time consuming? No, not really. Are they just over the top? No, not really. Will they instantly change everything? No. Incremental change is what sticks. It's what sticks. You don't change overnight. You don't go to the gym and do 600 sit-ups and the next day have a 6-pack. It doesn't work that way. It's incremental change. But as you keep doing it, a duration of time and distance, suddenly you turn around and you see where you were and where you are, and you don't even recognize yourself because you have done the work. So what are the 3 techniques? The first one, and you're going to want to write this down. The first one, are you ready for it? is to breathe. Really? I breathe all day. What do you mean breathe? Breathe. There's lots of techniques on YouTube. You can find all sorts of videos on breathing. Yes, breathing, something that we do instinctively, but what we do instinctively is this isn't working. We have to breathe all the way down to our hips, all the way down to our hips, and let it go. That's what we have to do. So find a breathing technique that works for you and anchor it to something that every time you pick up this device, you take a deep breath. By the end of the day, you've probably done 100 deep breaths because we know how often you look at this. So you want to anchor breathing with something else. You do. So the first thing is to breathe. The second thing is to pause. What do you mean pause? Yes, pause. Rather than reacting to a situation, whatever it is, deep breath and pause. Give yourself a moment to have clarity, to think about what you want to say or do or not do, because there are times, beauty of it is you get to choose whether to do or not do, say or not say. You have that choice. If you allow yourself the clarity to be able to do so. The third is when you hear that inner critic and she's going at you, she's beating you down, she's just one thing after the other, after the other, after the other. Stop. Stop. Even if you say it out loud. Everybody else around you might look at you like, well, what's she talking about? Stop. I don't need you right now. Okay? Call her out. Call her out. I don't need you right now. She's always going to be there. But what we're trying to do is get her voice to diminish to the point where it's a whisper. And the whisper's okay because you can go, you know what? I don't need that right now. I don't need that right now. I need a vacation. I need a reprieve from you. Give me 10 minutes of silence. Okay? She'll wait patiently. She will. And the goal is to get her to hibernate. I loved when mine hibernated. It was glorious. But when she came out full force, the avalanche of emotions, that was tough. Now, I'm able to regulate her. I appreciate what you said, but I don't need you right now. Okay? She might try to plant little seeds, in me, little seeds of self-doubt. But the fourth technique, I know I only told you 3. I told you I would only give you 3, but I'm going to give you the fourth one because the fourth one's really good. It really is. You're going to get a journal. Oh, gosh, you're going to tell me to write. Journal. Get a journal. It's your win journal. Win. W-I-N. This is your win journal. Every time you have a win, every time you suddenly feel good, come on, we know that there are times where you feel good, even if it's you got out of a nice hot shower and you didn't run out of hot water, and you had an idea, you had an epiphany, you had something. Whatever it is that suddenly makes you feel good, a warm cup of tea, somebody brought you an extra piece of pie, whatever it is, whatever brings a smile to your face and you have that rush of feel-good emotions, you're going to write it in your win journal. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. You don't have to write paragraphs, nothing of the sort. You don't have to write days and days and days of stuff. No, it's only for your wins. And when your inner critic starts up again, what you're going to do is you're going to grab that win journal and you're going to read it. Bonus points if you read it out loud. Yes, if you read it out loud. But you want to grab that book because that's you. That's everything that you've done that has brought a smile to your face and maybe brought a smile to somebody else's face. What about when your children run to you? They haven't seen you in forever, and they run to you and they hug your leg and you get that rush of emotion. Write that down, what it felt like, because the best way of communicating is to use feeling statements. And what I mean by that is I feel, I felt, I'm feeling. Those are great. And you want to acknowledge how you're feeling, because for so long we have such negative emotions. I feel like crap. I feel this, I feel that. I mean, we can spiral into negativity really quickly. And make no mistake, I'm not talking about flipping it to this positivity toxic thing going on where you completely ignore things. I'm not suggesting that. Please don't misunderstand me on that. But you can recognize the positive things in your life. You can. And you write them down. You write them down. So that's your bonus. 4 things to consider. I hope that you've written them down. If you didn't, watch the replay, hit the rewind, find it. Because those 4 techniques, and find the one that really resonated with you. Like, you know what? I can do that. I can do that. And it's incremental every single day. And before you know it, it becomes habit. And habits, the good habits, oh, they feel good. They do. They do. And maybe a couple of pages into your win journal, you write that down. I feel really good about writing down my wins. Vanessa said I would. So keep that in mind. All righty. So we have covered 2 aspects. We have covered part 1, why we stay stuck, and part 2, our inner critic. We're going to move on to part 3. Part 3 is, what does a relationship reset really involve? And again, it doesn't necessarily mean the relationship with others. I'm talking about the relationship you have with yourself. Because once again, we want to be able to trust ourselves again. We want to know that our antennas still work, that we pick up, we allow ourselves to hear those vibrations of our antennas for good things and bad things, for opportunities, for protecting ourselves in situations. Absolutely, without a doubt, good, bad, or indifferent. We want to be able to have that. So a relationship reset doesn't necessarily mean reconciling with others. It's reconciling with ourselves. It's coming to terms and peace with ourselves so that we know that we can forgive ourselves. Because that's a really big one. It truly, truly is. Because if we can't forgive ourselves, we can't trust ourselves. Yeah, I know. The title of this was about trust, and now I'm throwing in a monkey wrench. Well, wait a minute. You're saying that I can't have trust without forgiveness. Forgiving yourself. Not them, not the outside people and all the circumstances and everything else. Forgiving yourself. Because you are the most important person. You absolutely are. And you're so unique in your beauty. And it's weighed down by all of this muck. Everything is on you because you're taking it all on. You're being everything to everyone else, or you have been for so long. And now you're hurting. And it seems like the outside world just doesn't understand. They don't. And you're beating yourself up over it. You truly are. So working on forgiving yourself. You didn't know what you didn't know. It's that I'm not trying to placate it. Please don't misunderstand me. But you didn't know what you didn't know. Now you know. Now you have wisdom. Because wisdom is different than knowledge. Knowledge is book smarts and knowing things. Wisdom is that plus experience, plus implementation. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And now you know, and you have the wisdom because you have lived through experience. You're wiser. You know better. You do. And that's not to say that before you were naive. You didn't know what you didn't know. And that's okay. It's absolutely okay. And it's okay to practice forgiveness towards yourself. How do we do that? How do we forgive ourselves for a variety of things? Okay? And this is hard. And again, it's incremental. It's these little changes every single day that lead to a much bigger thing. They just do. So you start off small. Small. The barista screwed up your order in the morning. You didn't get your coffee exactly the way you like. And rather than allowing that one little thing to disrupt the entire day, we say to ourselves two different things. First, we say, you know what? I'm going to let this irritate me for 10 minutes. And you give it a time frame. I'm not going to let this ruin my whole day. Okay? Because whole is one of those dangerous words. It's kind of similar to never or always. Okay? Whole. This is ruining my whole day. No. If you feel compelled that you do want to experience those emotions, put a time frame on it. I'm going to allow myself to be irritated for 10 minutes. And then I'm going to let that go. I'm going to forgive it and I'm going to let it go. And then do just that. You have practiced forgiving in that capacity. The second thing is to practice it fully, meaning she or he screwed up your order. You acknowledge that. Oh, they screwed up my order. Oh, well, tomorrow will be a different day. Tomorrow I will be clear on exactly what I'm looking for, whatever it is. I'm not saying that you have to take ownership of it, but you have to take ownership of your reaction to it. You don't want to hold on to that. You don't. You want to let it drift away so that it doesn't weigh you down. So we want to practice that. And one of the bonuses that I'll mention to you, a great meditation. I know, meditation. Some people are very into it. Others are like, you're asking me to sit quietly for 20 minutes. I can barely get 20 minutes to myself, let alone 20 minutes to do something such as meditation. I encourage you for this one. Consider it. Okay. This was the meditation that really helped me. And I found it by chance back 10 years ago, infancy of YouTube. YouTube kept putting it in front of me and I kept swiping it away. Meditation, I'm not doing that. And I finally relented and I listened to it. It was great. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I winded up listening to it every day because I changed it. In my mind, though it was a visualization and hearing the dialogue and the music and everything else, for me, I needed the words to change a little bit. So I did that. So every time it came to a certain point, I would then subsequently change the words to it. I had the distinct pleasure. I had mentioned this to a client, and a client actually owns a recording studio and said, why don't you come to the studio and record it? That way I have it, and then you can share it with everyone else as well, because he had the privilege of me doing it live for him when he was in my office, and he loved it. And we then played the original, and he's like, okay, I see how you changed it. And we recorded it at his studio, and it is available for you. I strongly encourage you to have it. It's free. It's for you. It's called the 6-Phase Meditation, the Healing Edition. And part of the 6 phase is forgiveness, and it's very powerful. And I strongly encourage you on that, because a lot of it is forgiving ourselves. So, with that being said, the relationship reset framework that I work on is to reconnect to your values. That's number one. Number two is to rebuild emotional safety internally. Become safe within your own body. This is your oasis in all its beauty and all its glory. And then you want to redefine what intimacy and connection mean to you moving forward. Yes. Because you will have another relationship. You will. It'll happen. And we want to have a relationship with ourselves as well. And we want to be connected to ourselves. We want to know definitively what we're looking for, what we want in companionship, in friendship, in life in general. So I want you to write this down. This is your prompt. This is what I want you to think about. This is what I'd like you to journal on. I want this to earthworm its way in there and really give it some thought. It's not a, one word answer type of thing, but what's the one value you want to build in your next chapter? I'll repeat that for you. What's one value you want to build your next chapter on? What's a value that you have that you want to build upon? I want you to give that some thought. And then finally, part number 4. Are you ready for it? Again, just as a recap, what we have covered so far is why we stay stuck in limbo. That was part 1. Part 2 was our inner critic. Part 3 is what a relationship reset really looks like. And now we are in part 4. So part 4 is a clarity exercise. We really need clarity to know where we're going. It's kind of hard to drive when we have glasses that are covered in mud. Can't see anything. Absolutely not. So we want to be able to take off the glasses and clean them and put them back on, and they're not to be rose-colored. I know, we like to see things in rose-colored or any kind of filters and whatnot. No, we want them to be crystal clear. So this is a clarity exercise. Again, something that I work on with my clients that come into my office. So are you ready for it? Again, pen and a piece of paper. Are you ready? Okay. What do I know is true about me now that I didn't know before? Once again, what do I know is true about me now that I didn't know before? Really chew on that question, because you're going through this experience, or whether that's going through the divorce or you're already divorced. It's an experience. We want to acknowledge what it's done for you. Who are you now? Because life before divorce and life during divorce and life after divorce, oh, they're 3 different things. They truly are. Because again, you have wisdom. You have lived through experience. You get to learn from others. You get to share that wisdom with others. You get to guide someone else, especially if they're just contemplating it. They're thinking about it. They're wondering, should I? I'm not happy at this moment. Well, things could change. Absolutely. So once again, what do I know is true about me now that I didn't know before? Get to know yourself. And I'll let you know this. This exercise really helps you solidify who you are related to dating apps. If you're looking to write your profile, who are you? Because you want to be very specific. You don't want to be vague because you don't want to get everybody. No, you want to be very specific. You want something, you want a companion that is very specific. You can generalize it, but you don't want to go too general because then you just get everybody. And we all know that everybody's not a good fit. You want to be specific. And how to do so? Well, you have to get clear on who you are. And this clarity exercise will really help with that. So dig deep. Don't make it superficial. Not at all. Dig deep. Really get to know who you are and all the wonderful things about you. Because I'm sure there are many. There are absolutely many. And again, that inner critic, oh, she'll start screaming. Oh, no, don't let her do that to you. Don't let her do that to you. Alrighty. So we are at the end of our time. I did have a Q&A that I had put out to the other group that I'm doing this particular workshop for, and they had lots of questions. So because this is a Facebook Live and it works a little differently, I'm going to read off some of their questions to you, and maybe it's a question that you're thinking about and contemplating. So I hope that you stick around so that I can go through some of these questions and answer them to your benefit as well. And if not, thank you so much for participating today. As I mentioned, we have a whole lineup of speakers to continue again within the next 15 minutes at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have our next speaker as well. I don't have the roster in front of me, but I'm sure it's great, as are all the rest for the rest of the afternoon. So I do want to invite you to download that free guided meditation. You can find that on my website, understandingear.com. It is under resources, meditation, and you're more than welcome to grab that. That meditation really is a daily meditation. The impact of it is profound, and those that I've shared it with, they've indicated the impact that it's had on them, just as the impact it had on me. So that's my gift for you so that you have that. And if you ever want to talk more about your specific situation, my inbox is open. Vanessa at understandingear.com. You can shoot me an email. We can start a chat and go from there. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to open it up to the Q&A questions that I got from others from another group. You're more than welcome to stick around to hear those questions. So the first question is, can you elaborate on emotional safety? I'm struggling with understanding how my husband, who I indicated to him wanted a divorce, is now not being emotionally safe around me. He cries a lot. He's very needy and clingy, and it's making me second guess my choices. Emotional safety, when we feel deregulated, when we feel all over the place, it's a disconnection between our mind and our heart. They've ruptured, they've pulled apart, and we really, really struggle with that. And if you mention the divorce word to your husband and his reaction is that, for lack of a better word, of a child, there might be some sort of attachment going on there that he's not willing to let go. And that involves more conversations, because regrettably, silence is a relationship killer. It just is. When we avoid talking, yeah, it gets messy really, really quickly. And we don't want that. We definitely don't want that. So communication's definitely key. There's a couple of resources again on my website that you can refer to. There's an ebook about communication that's pretty comprehensive and has a lot of scripts within it, some suggestions of what to say. You can absolutely find that. I hope that's helpful to you. The second question that I have is, what would you suggest if I'm contemplating divorce, but I'm not quite there yet? Okay. This is a little bit more challenging, and we don't quite have enough time to go into it, but I want to give you as much as I possibly can. There is an article that I published, one of 80 articles that are published on medium.com. And this particular article is titled, Before You Decide to Divorce, Reflections from a Relationship Reset Expert. So once again, before you decide to divorce, reflections from a relationship reset expert. So with that being said, I outline some of the things for you to consider. The emotional aftermath is much louder than expected. Your lives are intertwined, and separating them out, it's not only just you and your husband, it's you and everybody else, all your friends, your in-laws, your families, everything else. Life is so intertwined, so disconnecting that can be extremely challenging. So you want to give that some thought, and I'm not saying stay in your marriage for the benefit of everyone else. Absolutely not. The other thing you want to consider is loneliness. And I mentioned that before about my client who was worried about loneliness. Loneliness doesn't always mean that you're alone. Not at all. When you get comfortable with yourself and you start trusting yourself, you're pretty cool. You're pretty cool to be with. You enjoy being with yourself. And that's glorious because you don't have to pretend. You don't have to pretend to be what others expect of you. Not at all. You get to be yourself. And it's so beautiful. And related again to this particular topic, and these are all covered within this article, is dating again. It's not a shortcut to healing. It's not. Some people think it is, that they go from one relationship to the next to the next. They never really heal. And all they're doing is taking their ex and bringing it into their next. And then their next, and then their next. And this is your oasis. Don't pollute it. Absolutely not. And heal. Allow yourself the opportunity to heal. And healing isn't necessarily in the arms of someone else. And divorce reconfigures more than just the couple. Yeah. A lot of different relationships change because people take sides. They do. Some disappear. Others don't know what to say. You know that. When you mention that you're getting divorced, people run for the hills, or they ask you a litany of really personal questions that you're not ready to answer, or they just dismissive. That's not what you need either. You need an army of support around you that will guide you, that will help you, that will encourage you, that will hold you up, that will walk beside you, not carry you, but walk beside you so that you can gain your strength, so you can do this. The other thing that this article mentions is about the financial reality of it. Divorce hits hard. It does. It just does. 2 incomes under one household are now 2 incomes under 2 households. That's challenging. So financial situations change very drastically, especially if it's a contentious divorce with alimony and support and spousal support and child support and lawyers, and it gets really messy really fast. But gratefully, we have lots of speakers here talking about that as well. So stick around for those. The other thing I want to mention is about children. Your kids feel more than we think. They are sponges. They take it all in. And the one really strong piece of advice that I have related to your children is remind them as often as you can that you love them, that they are loved, that they are absolutely loved, and more importantly, this is not their fault. This is not their fault. You think you have a wicked inner critic. Yeah, they don't even know what to name it. All they hear is a voice in their head that beats them down. We don't want that. We don't want them for them. As I mentioned, I spoke at Oxford University last month. I spoke about wicked inner critic, and the birth of my inner critic was at 5 years old. 5 years old, she's been talking to me ever since. And that is brutal for a child who doesn't have the language or the capacity to understand what's going on. All they hear is the voice in their head that tells them all kinds of things, all kinds of wicked things. You don't want that for your children. You absolutely don't want that for your children. I know I don't. I don't want it for my children, and I work very hard to make sure that my children do not have a wicked inner beast critic. Beast for men, critic for women. Same thing. Regardless of what you call it, it's your inner voice that beats you down. The last thing I want to mention before I let everyone go, and thank you all for your participation, is life is challenging enough as it is. It truly is. But with the right type of support around you, you can get through it. And you will. You absolutely will get through it. And dare I say, might you actually be better for the experience? I know, that hurts. I know, no, that can't be possible. But if you read through the posts and you look at, you Google me, because I'm all over the socials and YouTube and so forth and so on, sharing my story so that it can give hope to others. Hope. Hold on, pain ends. To give hope to others. You are unique. You are beautiful just as you are. And something catastrophic has happened to you. But you will get through this. You absolutely will. And you will be better on the other side. You absolutely will. People who haven't seen me in a decade cannot believe the transformation. I am a completely different woman than I was 10 years ago. And I am grateful because it was the necessary shove I needed, necessary push, the necessary nudge to become who I am today. And my win journal, I'm on my third one. Little wins, big wins, whatever they are, they're wins to me. And anytime I have that inner critic, because she comes out again every once in a while, she does. Every time she rears her ugly head, I reach for one and I read a couple of pages to remind me of those wins, to remind me of who I am, to remind me to trust myself again. I hope that you have found value in this workshop. It has been my honor and pleasure to be here in this group for the 9th summit, my 9th summit. I'm very, very grateful to be a moderator of this group as well. And as I mentioned before, feel free. My inbox is open. It's Vanessa@understandingear.com. And again, that free meditation, which is excellent, is on my website, understandingear.com. The navigation at the top has resources. Click on that and you will see the meditation. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, by all means, please reach out to me. Enjoy the rest of the summit.